Simon & Schuster Audio presents Half a Heart by Rosellen Brown. Read by Jayne Atkinson and Lisagay Hamilton.
There is no such thing as beginning at the beginning. Just when would that be and who would tell the story? But some moments in a life suggest a kind of punctuation, quick stop comma, full stop period, or the in-between caesures of colon and semicolon. Summer was a parenthesis that opened for Miriam Vener. Soon her children would split off from her, one by one, for what they loved to call sleepaway camp. First, Evie would go with her best friend, Kendra, packed into the back of the Pearlsteins' van to make off in the general direction of the Grand Canyon and points west. She would end up delivered to camp in California, reunited with the bunkmates she wrote to avidly all year long in envelopes festooned with cartoon stickers. She and the Pearlsteins' dog, Charlotte, named for the spider, liked to hang out the back window, their heads nearly identical. She always waved hard, looking tremulous, but Miriam knew she was so solid she'd be over it by the time they turned the second corner. Then the boys, Seth and Eli, would go off together on their noisy way toward their summer of swimming, snakes, computers, food fights, whatever the cliches of camp life. They embraced them with enthusiasm. Young boys are not interested in distinctiveness. That comes later. She'd hug them to her, one to each side, and they'd pull as hard as they could away. She had no respite from her mother's presence, though, a fact that alternately irritated and frightened her. The final period, she knew, might be placed at any moment, even unimaginably, in the middle of a paragraph. It was June, and the Houston summer was still benign. It was sometimes cool in the morning, and the sun that came splashing in at the door was not yet murderous. She had just hung up on a dispiriting conversation with her mother, who had called to say that Miriam's father hadn't come home all night, and that she was afraid he had met with some disaster. "People are being shot out there all the time," she reminded her daughter in a dire, terrified voice, and that was certainly true. Miriam wasn't worried about her father. He'd been dead now for almost 5 years. Her mother was the...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?